looking for the right button. I think this is it.
When these dads meet world, watching Boy Meets World. We grew up on the show, now we have kids and host a podcast. We watch each episode and then share our thoughts and grades. When these dads meet world.
They want you to take the roles.
Welcome back to Dads Meet World, your weekly deep dive into that classic 90s show known as Boy Meets World. I am one of your dads this week, Tyler, and joining me, of course, is...
Your other daddy, Brett. Who's your pod
We are
daddy?
joined by another new dad, old friend of ours. We'll just call him Aaron or Linus or Lionel. Meet
Linus.
another dad, Aaron.
That was a brilliant introduction. Brilliant.
I only messed it up a little bit. Say hi, Aaron.
Hi, Aaron.
Yes, he did it.
Well, Aaron is an old friend of ours back in the good old days of when I was a teenager and Brett was a old man who I was friends with also.
Old then? Am I ancient now?
I mean, you are now having the gray in your beard. Every now and then, like I've noticed as we've done the podcast, watching your face get more grayish over the course of time. So
Yes,
it doesn't
and
kind
yet
of freaky to me.
none up top.
I know you still got the hair. So yes, so we
It's
figured
all right here.
Aaron would be a good person to bring in because once upon a time, we had to decide that we had to leave each other and go on our merry way into other realms. So I thought he would bring us a nice perspective in this episode. So Aaron, how are you? What do you want to share about yourself?
Oh, very tired. Feeling older already. So I'm Aaron. We all hung out, about, I don't know, what was it, like 15, 16 years ago? It feels like a lifetime ago. I've been in and out of the military and just got a new job with CVS World, and actually met Tyler again, reunited. Where did we end up? We ended up at the Sunset Golf.
We were at Sunview Golf.
Yeah, the
Mhm.
Sunview Golf. I looked at him and didn't even recognize him at first. In fact, I think he recognized me before I did him.
Well, I recognized you immediately. Actually, I saw your wife and another friend, another acquaintance of ours, and I went, "Huh, what are those two doing here?" And then I saw you.
Yeah, so we recouped there, and here I am, sitting in the dark.
I kicked his butt in. I kicked his butt in go-kart racing.
Yes.
Well, you cheated in go-kart racing is what you did.
I did not cheat. I did everything but cheat.
Everything
You were-
what?
You were trying to be fancy, and that cost you.
So what had really happened?
Well, what happened was...
Yes. So, let's break down this episode, Brett. If you can give us that synopsis, that'd be good for us to get started.
All right. So we're looking at episode 3 of season 5. It's not you, it's me. So after Shawn and Cory agree to attend the same college, Shawn learns Cory has made interview plans on his own, and the two decide it's time to go their separate ways. Meanwhile, Eric thinks befriending the dean will ease his and Jack's college experience. This episode was written by our good friends Mark Blutman and Howard Busgang, directed by Alan Meyerson, originally aired October 17th, 1997, and currently enjoys an IMDb rating of 7.6. Now, Aaron, I don't know how familiar you are with how we do things here, but we like to look at the Nielsen numbers and see how well Boy Meets World was doing in 1997.
He asked me the question, "What is a podcast?"
I knew that was going to come up. I knew that was gonna be the first thing that comes up in this whole thing. Like, look, I don't. I'm out.
Oh,
I'm out in the
yes.
outside world. All right. I'm sorry. I guess I
Oh,
barely know
yeah.
what
Get
TikTok is,
inside it.
so you know.
Well, on that end, you're not really, you're kind of on the better side of things for in a lot of ways. But last week's episode had a 12.07 rating, roughly, 12 million households tuning in. So, Tyler and Aaron, I'll let you take a stab. How do you think this week's episode did? Up, down? Take a stab at numbers.
Let's go 13.
13.
Are we talking Richter scale? Or are we talking?
Well, we're just talking, did anyone go up or down? Or, just up or down numerically?
It's the Nielsen rating.
All right. So Tyler, you said 13. I'm gonna go 13.1.
All right. Well, by Price is Right rules, you both lost the showcase. Had a drop down to
Oh,
11.4.
It deserved it.
Well, we know how Tyler feels about the episode now. All right, Tyler, take it away.
How do I say this, Brett? This episode starts really awkwardly in a way that makes you go, did they just not have a way to introduce the episode? Because the first thing that Feeney says is, and that, Mr. Hunter, is how babies are made. I still don't believe it. So, do you
Yeah.
think, and Aaron, please chime in for your opinion on this. Do you think Feeney was like talking about the mechanics of how it's made, or like the actual like system in which it happens inside of woman? Because we already know
honest.
that Telegram, you know,
Telegram from his teenager.
we've watched the video, so
Oh,
yes, but give
yes.
thoughts.
So, seeing how this is the first episode I've seen in many, 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 many years, I was very confused starting with this episode. I had no idea of any backstory or what the heck was even going on. So I just kind of went along with it. And then I'd
This
say
is either
about
an English or a history class, Aaron. This is not biology or health class.
Yeah, up to this point, we have not had Mr. Feeney teaching biology, so
all
he's
right. So that
usually
just
English or history. Last episode, he was teaching a film class.
all right. So it didn't help that this was the first one I've seen after many, many years, and
Yeah.
being entirely confused of what was going on until about midway through, and I was like, okay, this is starting to make sense now. But yes, I do agree that beginning was really just. I think they just kind of spitballed it. that start there.
Well, Brett, what do you
Well,
think?
I mean, it's low hanging fruit, but it's a fun joke, so I'll give it a pass.
All right. We find out that apparently next Friday is college recruitment day, and apparently Corey, who has been up to this point, to our knowledge, a B, maybe B plus student,
Hmm.
has a bunch of interviews set up ready to go, and one is Stanford. Now, I'm not a historian, but I know that Stanford is an Ivy League school, and typically they don't accept people or even give much time or day to unless you're in like top 5, top 10 of your school, or you have someone who's rich enough that's already been there. So,
Stanford has a reputation for being a school that like Topanga could get into. Corey was not getting into Stanford.
right.
Your good buddy Andrew Luck came from Stanford, so
Well, with that now, don't just say that like that.
for those of you listening who
Tell
doesn't
Aaron who
Google,
you're talking about. He doesn't
Andrew
know.
Luck is the former quarterback for the Indianapolis Colts. Tyler really does not know him personally. That was just giving him, throwing him a bone as a Colts fan. So But yeah, I mean, Stanford is known as a school for, their I believe, largely for engineering and more science driven uh,
Hmm.
majors. Not something Corey's shown any aptitude up to this point in four
I mean,
years.
they would be interested in Minkus, that's for sure.
Oh, Minkus would get in without a problem, even not being a legacy.
Aaron, do you know who Minkus is?
No.
Yes.
Yeah.
So apparently, though, Corey has promised Shawn that he would take him to Vermont to see the leaves change. Have either
Yeah,
of you
that
been to Vermont to see the leaves change?
I mean,
I,
they
I'm going to
happen
throw
just
this
fine
out.
in Pennsylvania.
Going up in the up on the North Coast, it's a big thing to go out and watch, observe, go visit. It's leafing basically. But this whole episode is built upon this whole 1997 no homo joke, where it's the Scrubs guy love type of thing, where they're basically, we're married but we're really just two dudes, kind of we're gay but we're not type of thing. And so there's a lot of this low hanging fruit jokes throughout the process, where we're giving all these things thrown out that we've never heard about before, but we're being just expected to go along with it. That just, some of them hit, some of them don't. The whole, we're going to go to Vermont and watch the leaves change, that's nothing we've ever thought Shawn would be into up to this point. Cory maybe, Shawn no.
Aaron, have you ever watched the leaves change in Vermont?
I have not. In fact, I
Mm.
spent most of my after graduation in Florida, where they don't even have leaves. We have palm trees.
Hmm.
So those leaves did not change all year round.
Like you're still one of them. Yeah, but I find it fascinating that Corey, well, from what we're seeing right now, Corey is applying to a bunch of places all over the place, and it kind of makes me wonder, like, what is your goal and hopes in going to college, Corey? Because my my head for real world just says that they're throwing it out there, like, hey, you need to see what's up with every school you may be interested in, but like, unless you have like a real purpose for going to a specific school, why are you throwing out so many different schools?
Yeah, I mean, we've got Stanford, Wisconsin, Penn, and up to this point, he's mentioned specifically accounting and film, possibly. Um, I don't think I'm really missing any other potential career paths.
No. Well, I bet they all have good education programs, Brent.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure about Wisconsin, but sister school in the Big Ten, Northwestern, would be a better one to go through for film studies.
Yeah.
I'm really not all that familiar with Penn, but that's another really high reach for Corey with his academic career to this point.
Hmm.
So,
Aaron, did you ever watch any of Girl Meets World?
I have not.
Okay. Corey becomes a teacher, so we like to make jokes about the fact of Corey shouldn't be a teacher.
Although the one episode kind of gave me enough information about who Corey is and who Shawn is. So Corey seems to be like the college go-getter, like I wouldn't say high class per se, but like more educationally direct, where Shawn's just kind of like the wild one that, is like the partier in comparison to Corey. And to just to see that one episode, it really just kind of shows a lot, even if you've not seen any of the recent ones. Just kind of give the difference that they spoke about, even in the same episode when they were little, about him. It was Shawn saving Corey from the llamas. Um, that really sparked a big difference that you could tell between the two kids, and which
Mhm.
sparked this whole relationship. They called it the bromance. Um, but yeah, they were definitely two completely different people, and just to see that Shawn wants to go to college, period, it kind of threw me in there for a loop just seeing that one episode.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Understandable. Yeah, Sean is really hooked on the whole "you promise we go to the same college," which I don't know. I was always under the impression that Sean would just go live in whatever state or city that Corey is going to college at, and not
Yeah,
actually
Corey
go
had
to
to do a
school.
lot of work to get Shawn to even take the SATs because Shawn did not expect to go to college. Shawn was not planning on going to college.
Sorry. So yeah, just we're getting into this fight between the two of them, and Corey apparently put up a deposit down for a year in advance of them going to watch the light leaves change. So I don't know about either of you, but I've never put a deposit down a year away from where we are. Mhm. So apparently, Sean decided to hire a skywriter, a lot of money, to go up and write "Corey, I Hate You" in the clouds.
Yeah. Uh,
Yeah, Sean, who has no money, talks all the time about not having any money. Apparently, has the money to write something in the sky.
don't know where it came from, but oh well, I'll roll with it. Don't believe it, but I'll roll with it.
Yeah, so apparently they've decided they're going to give each other space. They're breaking up or separating.
Hmm.
And Topanga's concerned. Is everything okay? Oh, yes, everything's fine. And Corey goes to sit down, and someone's in his seat. A
There's somebody
betrayal.
sitting in my seat.
Yes, apparently it's Andy. Who is this
Yeah.
Andy? Is it his best friend? Apparently it's just a friend.
Yeah, I wondered if Shawn has a list of potential substitute friends to pull from, or if he just grabbed the first guy and said, "Hey, you sit in that seat.
It
You're my
happened
new
really
friend."
fast.
Because this is the same day. I mean, this is not like the next day. This is the same day.
Hmm.
Hmm.
Well, Aaron, in high school, did you have different groups of friends? You could pull a friend and hang out with that person instead of hanging out with someone else?
Quite honestly, I hung out with a lot of different cliques. I wasn't one of the
Yes, you
typical high
did.
schoolers that was in one clique and that was it. Like I hung out with everybody, really.
Hmm. Yep. Aaron was so willing to replace me here and there.
I wouldn't call it a replacement, more of
Yes.
a
Someone
So
else
step in.
Corey,
stand by.
Yeah, a step in.
Corey is quite upset and quite dramatic, and he decides to go over and make small talk with Lionel. Brett, do we
Which
have
I do
anything
actually.
on Lionel?
Yes, I do. Which I have to say before I give you his information, I found it oddly hilarious and very uncomfortable the way Corey decided to draft Lionel as his new friend.
Yeah, it's
Uh,
weird.
Li- yeah, Lionel is played by Seth Miller, the first and only time we'll see him on Boy Meets World. Only 3 acting credits on his resume, um,
Hmm,
including Even Stevens and LAX. He's not acted since 2004. Nothing against Seth, but there's it shows as to why there's only 3 acting credits.
fair.
He does not they did not cast well for his part,
But I think they were casting for awkward.
which works, but he was wooden, not just awkward.
Yeah, fair.
Yeah,
And he
but
gives it.
Corey's taking another boy's grapes.
Yes. Aaron, did you ever take another boy's grapes?
No, no, I have not. The innuendos in this whole episode were just, yeah, it's not a great way to start a series. I got to tell you that. Um,
Uh-huh. Yeah.
It really threw me in a
It's a
lot of
great
loops.
hop on board episode for you.
Basically, yeah. I mean,
Well,
it really caught me
I
off guard.
hmm I started this episode with my wife in the room, and she looked at me and goes, "Ugh, not this episode."
Oh, baby!
So you're not the only one that feels the way you feel.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, this one does not hold up well.
Yes. Um, we do go to the apartment. You don't know, Aaron. The apartment is where Eric, Corey's older brother, Jack, and Sean live. Jack and Sean are brothers. So those three live in an apartment together. Jack and Eric are clearly in college. So the two of them apparently are in maybe the same class or have like the same class is not the same period or whatever, but they have a assignment that's supposed to be write whatever you feel like. It's open ended, and apparently it's 10,000 words.
With with the exception of the word count, I would have said this was just a freshman orientation paper with this being a completely open assignment. But with the word count, I'm going to say it's some sort of introductory level English course that they're taking.
Could be.
But yeah, I remember writing papers with a pencil. Yeah, not with a computer.
Yeah,
But
fair.
they've
Mm-hmm.
had 3 weeks to write this paper.
Well, Brett, you can't write a paper like this, right off the bat. You gotta wait it out.
Some of
But
us
yes,
can.
I will say one of my favorite lines in probably this whole season is don't make fun of me over my learning disability. You have a learning
Yes.
disability? I would think so.
Which I wrote down. I call truth. Eric has a learning
He
disability.
has to. He has to. I'll throw myself under the bus, Brett. I 100% have dyslexia, and I'm 99.5% sure I have ADHD. There's something that Eric has, if not similar or exactly that, because this guy struggles all the time. And also, I want my mommy is not 3 words.
I
Yeah.
want my.
Yeah. I mean,
That's 4
Eric is
words.
incredibly intelligent, but he's got some sort of learning disability. But the line delivery on that is just, it has me rolling.
Mhm. Yes. I like how supportive Jack is. Like, oh, you do have a learning disability? I would think so.
Yeah. I'm making fun of you, not your disability. Come on.
No, I'm making fun of me making fun of Eric's disability. Oh yes.
Yeah.
Aaron, did you end up having a 10,000 word open ended essay to write in the military?
No, but I had a 10,000 worded document I had to sign. No joke, the application
Only
for the
10,000?
military, the application for the military was 68 pages front and back. I had to sign, fill out, sign, and fill out. I swear I wrote my name and or signature and or initials at least 10,000 times.
I
Hmm,
can't say that doesn't surprise me at all.
no.
I mean, that
We need to make sure
sounds
to not mention your
completely
last
on
name or
board.
otherwise the government will be after us.
That sounds
So,
exactly like the United States government.
well, the irony of it all is when they say I sign my life away, you literally sign your life away. That's just how obnoxious and how many signatures is required for these documentations. So it feels like you're
Fair.
literally signing your soul over essentially because you're just it's I mean your wrist goes numb from all the signatures.
Hmm.
Now, did you actually read everything before you signed?
You know what? I started to, and then when I got to like page 7, I stopped reading
Don't
and
make
just
fun of
started
his
signing.
disability.
Like no joke, I probably read the first 7 pages front to back, and I was like, "This is ridiculous. I'm just gonna start signing this." So who's to say what I really gave them?
Yes. Fair. Well, I'm assuming you didn't go to China and dig up fossils over the summer.
No, I did not. Nothing exciting as that. That's for sure.
Hmm.
No, my excitement for this summer was going to
You got
Waldemere.
I
pictures?
And yes, I do have pictures.
Yay! I went to Waldemere. Waldemere's so much fun. I do like them having that runner up. You got pictures? No, you got nothing. Because
Hmm.
in a way, unless something is documented, if it
Yeah.
feels unbelievable, if it's not documented in some way, it didn't happen.
I like throwing out pictures or it didn't happen all the time when someone tells me something,
Hmm.
whether I was there or not.
Fair. All right. So yes, so the boys are struggling to figure out what they should do. Jack wants to do the honorable thing, but Eric has made it clear we're going to make friends with the dean, and the dean is going to help us, just like Feeney did.
Ah, yeah. Because, Feeney was all about letting Eric skate by all the
Hmm.
time.
So yes. Well, we go to the Matthews' kitchen again. Brett in the kitchen, not in the living room.
Yes, yes.
And the last 3 episodes, Aaron, we have not seen the living room set, so we've
Well,
only
we
seen the
gotta
kitchen.
we gotta have room for Dean Borax's set. So
Yes, office
Mm.
and then front of the house. Although I'm starting to wonder if that's the Matthews' house just lit differently.
no, I think they went on location somewhere on the Warner Brothers lot to film that.
Fair. But yes, apparently Corey is depressed and he is in his bathrobe and in his PJs and doesn't want to talk to them.
Which, by TV language, this is just later that same day.
Yes.
This is all one day so far.
Yes. Yes. And luckily we have Morgan, the little sister, there to help us to be able to explain everything to Alan and Amy.
Corey got dumped.
Yes. Apparently Lionel is his new boyfriend.
He'll dump you too.
That's what caught me too. It's like,
And
oh,
Aaron,
I
we
will
love
s-
he'll do
Morgan
me
around
too.
these parts.
Mhm.
The truth seeker.
Yes, and Alan says that he was surprised he didn't see Corey at Pink's, which, what the heck is Pink's? Who knows? Because
I
apparently
have
Shawn
no
was
clue.
there with some buddies.
He's with guys. I'm only with one guy.
Hmm. Now, when I asked my wife, what bothers you about this episode, the first thing she said was, well, they ask when Topanga kisses him, does he like it?
When they
And
kiss,
all
he
those
enjoys it,
questions.
right?
Uh-huh. And then immediately that's the next line that came up.
Mm-hmm. Like
um,
I said, it's the 1997. Let's lean into this whole no homo joke. We're guys. It's the bromance, but we're really still guys.
mhm, mhm.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, I love episodes by Blutman and Bus Gang, but I'm going to say it right now. This was a huge whiff for them.
I'm just gonna say it, Brett. I think this is one that was interfered with by some people or someone potentially above them.
Michael Jacobs. Sorry, had something in my throat. But yeah,
Yes.
Corey is clearly the stereotypical girl in this relationship. He's in his bathrobe. He's eating ice cream. It's 6:30 at night. He's going to go watch a Lifetime movie and cry because his ex is hanging out with multiple guys. Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah. Aaron, Michael Jacobs is the showrunner of Boy Meets World. Did you hear me?
Yep, I got you there. Yeah,
Okay.
this whole
You just didn't
episode
say
really just
anything, so I was like, wait, do you hear me? Are you still with us?
no, I'm still here. I'm just
So
listening
the
in.
deal with
I'm
Michael
just a
Jacobs
guest,
is
y'all.
he's not the greatest person. So we want to make sure you're aware of what's going on. So normally, if we have a real issue, we're like, Michael Jacobs is the problem. He's the one that did this.
He created a great show, but sometimes he just meddled too much.
Yeah. But we meet the dean, Brett.
Ah, yes, Dean Borak, played by Paul Gleason. And I will say right now, I love the Dean. Great character, firm and sassy. I like him.
Mm-hmm.
First of 2 times we will see him on Boy Meets World. I'm really sad it was only 2. And he's another one of those characters. I felt like we had him on for more than 2 episodes.
Yep.
He'll show up again next episode, and that's it. 154 acting credits to his name. Shows like The Green Hornet, Mission Impossible, Columbo, Magnum PI, which next episode, fun little shout out to him. The A-Team, Miami Vice, Die Hard, Seinfeld, yes, that Die Hard. The Wonder Years, Walker, Texas Ranger, Melrose Place, The Drew Carey Show, Friends, Malcolm in the Middle, and so many more. Sadly, he did pass away in 2006.
Brett, you didn't mention one of his most legendary roles as being in not another teen movie.
Well, you know,
As they clearly did a rip off of another movie he was in, The Breakfast Club.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, I only want to take up so much time, so I had to get Die Hard in there and Magnum
Of
PI.
course you did.
But I was so hoping that when I went through his credit list that Love Boat was on there, but it wasn't.
So we meet him. The guys are trying to suck up to him, and he's trying to make clear, I'm not having anything of this. People try to come in here and suck up to me and get me to do things for them, and I'm not doing it because I'm a dean. I don't know about you,
And
Brett, but I never interacted with the dean of my college.
No, I never interacted with the dean of my department for my major,
Mm-hmm.
but I never interacted with the dean of the college or the president of the college. And quite frankly, there's no way that the dean of the college is going to overrule an individual professor on a single assignment for
Right.
what we assume is an introductory level 101 level English course.
Yeah. All they had to do was talk to the professor, and it would have gotten cleared up really quickly.
Again, as we've discussed previously, Michael Jacobs never went to college. So Michael Jacobs does not understand how it works.
Yeah.
Hence the
Fun side story, wrong character.
Yes. I believe we go to Chubby's now, Brett.
Ah, yes.
And Cory and Lionel and Topanga are hanging out, which feels super weird.
I did feel bad for Lionel. He is such a rebound.
But we have another moment where Topanga makes sure that Cory likes her kissing him.
You enjoyed that, right? Yeah.
So anywho, then Shawn walks in with 3 guys, all with leather jackets.
Mm-hmm. And again, same day. This is just later that night after Cory was in the kitchen.
It could be the weekend, Brett. Give him credit. Maybe it's Saturday.
Shawn is still in the same clothes. He's just put on a leather jacket.
I've seen, including myself, wear the same clothes one day after the other.
Lionel's in the same shirt.
Also fair.
But yes, essentially, Brett, we have the leather jackets versus the polos.
Yes, and remember, in Boy Meets World language, leather jacket means, what does it mean, Cory? Well, what does it mean, Tyler?
They're bad people.
Yes, it means the ruffians.
Yes. But yes, they have Cory and Shawn essentially have a yelling match at each other,
which I did clip.
Go please.
All right, here we go.
We met today and we are getting along just famously because I'm young, Hunter. I'm vital and I have a lot to offer. Yeah, well, so do I. The difference is I have the dignity to keep my friendships personal and private, not parade them around in public for your twisted amusement. You little punk! You dirty man!
Cat fight.
Face it, Matthews. Our friendship never made any sense in the first place. You're right. Why? Because we're different. Your college, I'm Townie. It was only a matter of time before that caught up with us. Well, then let's end it now before it lasts any longer than it did. No! Now!
Wait, did they just agree at the end?
You dirty man. Yes.
Yeah. So like, okay, these two have fought each other at least twice, Aaron. Like they have had full blown like fist fights, go to the ground, wrestling each other fights. This is the first time they've really had like this weird argument, but
Hissy
throwing.
fit. This is a
Yeah,
hissy fit.
this is a hissy fit. It's a good way to put it. This is like Real Wives of Beverly Hills at the moment, or New
They
York.
break up at least once a season. And to me, this felt really early in the season for us being the
It did.
third episode. I will say, just as a side, that's Chubby who says cat fight. This
I wonder if
is
that was this year's version of Chubby.
That's this year's Chubby. That's
My
Matt
least favorite.
Kirkwood. This is his fourth of 7 appearances on Boy Meets World. He's also going to show up again in The Eskimo, Eric Hollywood, and My Baby Valentine.
Hmm.
His first appearance was in Model Family way back in season 1. So if you want his whole resume, good looking people, go back to season 1, episode 15, and you can hear it.
Huh.
I'm not going to do it again right now.
Interesting.
But yeah, the whole thrown water staple, the hissy fit. I have to say, as dumb as it is, I did thoroughly enjoy the whole "you dirty man."
Well, I will. Okay, so one of the reasons that I want to invite Aaron on, and also in general, make sure we have a good conversation about this moment, because as ridiculous and dumb as it is, they are actually communicating their thoughts and their fears, and they're letting it out. That's the one thing I love about Corey and Sean is that when they have a problem, when they have a disagreement, instead of doing the thing I'm going to say stereotypically that men will do, is just bury it as far down as they can and ignore the problems, ignore the issue, and then things just kind of end. Um,
Mhm.
and I say that because unfortunately, that's what happened for Aaron and I. Is that I think, after he graduated high school, because we were a year apart, we weren't really communicating, even though we were still spending time with each other, still doing stuff together. But we didn't actually like have a point where we were going, "Hey, what's the deal with our friendship, and how can we support each other?" And then we just stopped. Um, and so part of the thing that I want to make sure of why we were talking about this is because I wanted to get the perspective from Aaron as well on that. Because from my end, it was always, well, Aaron doesn't know what he wants. I do know what I want. I need to keep pushing forward. And I never really got to hear Aaron's perspective other than I'm going towards the military. So, Aaron, the floor is yours, sir.
So it's funny
Tell me
that
about
you
your
bring this.
feelings.
It's funny that you bring this up, and now that you just mentioned that little tidbit, it's all kind of getting together as to why we started with this episode. Um, so of course, Tyler and I in high school, we were like Corey and Sean, two completely different people. We hung out with two different completely groups. Granted, I hung out with majority of different cliques, but primarily Tyler hung out with like I guess the college bounds, the what do we want to call them preppies, but
You
you know,
just
I
call
mean
them what
that's
they are, the
essentially
jocks.
what it. Yeah, okay, so we'll just say it was the
Jocks.
jocks, right? Now, granted, I played sports in high school too. I played soccer all 4 years, but anyway. So, and then I hung out with all the kids that more than likely were just going to go right to the workforce, weren't college bound, weren't even thinking about school. Were I mean, basically the complete opposite. The rebels, we'll call them. So like Corey and Sean, Tyler and I were two completely different people. But outside of school, we hung out all the time. We got together. We even made, a couple of video series here with Brett and through the church and had a real blast. And so we had a great time. And then just like Tyler said, after we graduated high school, it just kind of slowed down, because after high school, there's really no more youth group per se. Once you graduate high school, you're an adult. You can't participate in those kind of things. So it kind of got us to grow apart. And Tyler, of course, like Corey, was college bound, so he went to college, and I went the rebel route. Well, the rebel route I could, and I went to the workforce, straight to the workforce right out of high school. So we just kind of grew apart and went our own separate ways. Um, we did occasionally talk in Facebook, like here and there. And granted, the last time I was on Facebook was probably about 7, 8 years ago. I don't even use Facebook, so that could be why, Tyler, that it doesn't show up on your account anymore. They might have locked my account out. Who's to say?
Who's to say?
Um, but yeah, I don't so much think that it was that we grew apart, so to speak, but more so we had our own paths to take in life. And unfortunately, it ended up bringing us
Yeah.
in two different directions. I went to one side of the country while you were this side of the country. So that's just the way that the life took us.
Mhm.
But I'm back in PA. Woot woot. Um, here to stay for a little while anyway.
And better than ever.
Yeah, I can say I am better for the path I took. I didn't want to be stuck working in a manufacturer life. It just wasn't for me. Uh, it definitely made me a better man than what I was 15 years ago. So I mean, it did me some good. But yeah,
Well,
I think now that we're talking again, I
I
mean,
mean, sorry.
it I hope that we can continue this friendship and even get the kiddos together. We still gotta get the boys together and uh, for a play date or
Oh
a
yeah.
park or something. But yeah,
hmm
I kind of figured that's
Well,
where you were
and
going
one
with
of the things I'll
this.
say too, my friend. Yeah. No, one of the things I've thought a lot about myself is, we had a friend, we'll say a youth pastor, who would talk a lot about his friendships and how they maintained for so long. And I think we had kind of this assumption that, like, any of our friendships could do that, not realizing that there is work required to make that happen. So, like, I think we always thought, like, yeah, we'll always talk to each other. We'll always interact with each other. And then it's like, well, if they're not going to get a hold of me, then I'm not going to get a hold of them. And if they're not
Yep.
going to take my calls, I'm not going to call them. So it's just that stubbornness I think you have younger on in life, that as you get older, especially as you get into your 30s, you're kind of just like, huh, a lot of time's been wasted. I really hope that person's okay. So, but yeah, I appreciate what you said, Aaron, and I hope you appreciate what I said. And Brett, I hope you appreciate that the two of your birds are talking to each other again.
I do indeed. It's good to hear.
Oh, I will tell you, Brett. I actually was interacting also with another one of your former birds, so maybe we'll have to have a purple police reunion.
Oh.
Oh.
Yeah. Anywho, so dramatic, emotional fight. Can we even call this a soap opera moment of the splashing the water in each other's
Oh,
faces?
totally.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I really like the part
Yes.
at the end of
So
it.
I do
They like
love that
agreed
he
with each
says our
other.
friendship never made sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
Ba, 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 ba. Yeah. Corey apparently goes to get his stuff back. There's a party going on.
Same day.
Yeah. It's a long day,
This
Brett. It's a
is a
Sean's
long
very
day.
quick
long
at
day.
organizing a party. He's quick at getting new guys. He's quick at getting party
He
together.
is in a college building, though, Brett, or a
Yeah.
college subsidized building, so it's not that hard
Some
to
of
get
some
college
of those
people.
party goers are from 3B.
Yeah, most of them are. Uh, yeah. So the boys show up. Eric and Jack show up at Dean Boulder's house, which I never knew where any administration people lived, and the only time I found out where a professor lives is when they personally invited us to their home. But other than that, how did
Yeah.
they find the dean's
I'm sure
address?
it's publicly listed. It's not hard to find. But showing up at his house after dark with a babka, I mean, this is Eric really taking this to extremes. And I noticed that Eric's really figured out how to push Jack's buttons and manipulate him. So Eric's not as dumb as he wants people to think he is. He's actually quite shifty here. Okay, high school
But
boy.
it's that balancing act you have to have, Brett, of Eric is moving the story forward, but also is dumb.
Yeah.
Yes. We're gonna meet his daughter. No. My
That's my Doberman.
Doberman, yes.
And then we get another Feeney call.
Yes. We get a Feeney call.
I clipped a little bit of this.
Oh, please.
Mr. Feeney! Mr. Feeney!
I was expecting you. Today, tomorrow, yesterday. It was only a matter of time.
Mr. Feeney, this is my roommate, Jack.
Why doesn't he look at me?
I'm afraid, sir. Mr. Feeney, we're both scared, okay? Tomorrow we gotta hand in our first college paper. What if they find out we're nothing more than fakes?
Gentlemen, getting accepted into college is not a random act. You both were accepted on your merits. And by virtue of that alone, you belong. Now, what's the topic of your paper?
It's an open assignment. You can write on anything you want. No rules, no guidelines, no parameters. Doesn't even have to be in English.
You're kidding, right?
No.
Now, that's interesting because they said no rules. So that means literally could just turn in a paper that's one page that says, I like cheese.
And yet there's one rule. It's 10,000 words. But they don't have to be in English.
Yeah.
What kind of class is this? Apparently, I was wrong. It's not English. If it doesn't have to be in English.
But I do love that Jack tries to say, well, I have a paper I already wrote. Maybe I'll turn that in. Oh, what's that about? Digging in China. You got pictures? No. Yeah,
You
nothing.
got nothing. Feeney and Eric. Eric and Feeney. I make you look so good. I do like Feeney's advice. Write about the anxiety you're feeling.
Yeah, it's a good offer. Aaron, any advice for these college boys?
Well, as I didn't go to college, I probably would have pulled the whole Bart Simpsons and wrote, I will not draw on the dean's car about 10,000 times. I mean, quite
Nice.
honestly, they had literally an open book paper of nothingness. Just had to be 10,000 words.
Just copy and paste a bunch of Taylor Swift lyrics.
I mean, there's also that too. I mean, it's
Someone watched the Chiefs game.
Yeah, most of it.
We're pretty much obsessed with the Taylor Swift Travis Kelce situation.
Okay,
What do you think, Aaron? Are they going to break up soon?
You are pretty much obsessed.
Trying to get those clicks, man.
I gave up following any relationships going on in the popularity world there.
Very wise.
You never paid attention to those anyway. Don't act all high and mighty now.
Hence why I gave up. I just never started.
You gave up in 2008. Anywho,
That's fair.
so we're at Feeney's principal office that he's not always in.
So we are confirmed he is still the principal, because it's been kind of
Yes.
nebulous up to this point.
Yeah. No, she's from the first season, Brett. Anywho,
Nebulous, not nebula.
yes. Cory walks in and says, "Hey, Mr. Feedy, you got 2 extra tickets to next week's game, huh?"
Yes. Cory's interested in the Eagles, so still interested in sports, I guess.
Hey, 1 time a season. Got to throw in a sports
Yep.
reference.
Got to throw in a Philly reference.
Now, Aaron, I know you're a big Dads Meet World fan, clearly, but if you go back and listen to the first season, literally, I go through so much baseball knowledge because that's all they talk about is baseball the first season. After that, we talk about no sports whatsoever, so I have to force it in every now and then.
But once a season, there's a Philadelphia sports team referenced. This is it.
Yeah. And then apparently, Mr. Feeney is because Shawn walks in and says something about an academic achievement award.
When would Shawn expect to get an academic achievement award and actually show up?
I don't know, but they both yell "Sting!"
You Sting, which I laughed at. I will say, even in the midst of all this really dumb stuff that Blutman and Busgang have been doing, Ben and Hunter's comedic timing and their chemistry is on.
It's always
right
great.
on.
Mm-hmm. Now, I will say Sting is not in the rafters, so he's not going to come down and hit anybody. And I don't think they're playing any music right now, so they should be okay.
And this is a new day.
Yes, it is a new day. And then all of a sudden, Topanga appears, and they both go, Topanga! There it is, thank you. And so it has one of the most awkward generating like to a flashback that I've ever seen, because this show doesn't do flashbacks like this.
The day he met me. The day he met me. The day he met me.
Yes, and we flash forward or flash back to when the two of them met when they were children.
Yeah,
Cory.
The three kid actors. I'll give you very, very briefly their background info. Young Cory, played by Cory Padnos, first and only time on Boy Meets World, 15 acting credits to his name, including Diagnosis Murder, Suddenly Susan, Zoe 101, Batman Gotham Knight, and others. He was the voice of Linus Van Pelt, the Peanuts character, through the early 2000s.
Nice.
And his last credited role was in 2009. He went into a lot of voice acting. Young Shawn is played by a kid named, I kid you not, Glenn Bob Sweet. First and only appearance on Boy Meets World. Only 4 acting credits to his name, including High Incident, Recess, School's Out, and Third Rock from the Sun. Last credited roles in 2001. And young Topanga is played by Rosario Grew. First and only appearance on Boy Meets World. 7 acting credits to her name, including Baywatch, Power Rangers Lost Galaxy, Providence, and others. Last credited role was in 2002.
Yes. Well, we have the 3 of them interacting with each other. Shawn asking if he could have lunch with Cory. He says, "I don't think I should." And then Cory's trying to impress Topanga, and he falls into the llama area, or the petting zoo. Yes. And Cory's yelling for help, and Topanga's berating him or nagging him. And Shawn leaps in and pulls him out. And he says, "I'm sorry," introduces Topanga as the wife. And the 2 of them decide to have lunch together, and then they hug.
Promise me you won't go to college and leave me.
Yeah. That's a weird thing for little kids to bring up.
I got, I think, 3 things to say about this whole flashback. 1, I find it interesting that Shawn was the one who initiated his and Cory's friendship, with Shawn being the consummate loner throughout all of Boy Meets World's history. So I do find that interesting. 2, this is an absolutely horrible zoo where a 6-year-old can hop into the llama pit and no one notices. And 3, This is really on the nose that two 6-year-olds are saying, "Promise me you won't go to college and leave me." Even for Boy Meets World, this is really on the nose.
Yeah, very fair. But as you know, Brett and Aaron, of course you know as well, Boy Meets World doesn't really care about continuity. All it cares about is
Or
the joke.
subtlety
Yeah, or
sometimes.
subtlety either. So,
Yeah.
Aaron, do you remember any promises you made to anyone when you were 6 years old?
Um, no, I remember who my kindergarten teacher was. That's about
Hmm.
it. In fact,
No.
I saw her the other day and she didn't even recognize me.
Well, I'm sorry to hear that.
It broke my heart.
But you did marry my first girlfriend, so take that, jerk face.
Wow, is that the game we're playing?
Anyway, good looking people, that's going to be the After Hours podcast episode that I will have nothing to do with recording or editing. Find our
Anywho,
Patreon.
so yeah, the boys start to hug, and Topanga says a very supporting thing as a girlfriend. Stop it, you're boys. And then we flash back into present day, into reality, and Corey and Sean are hugging each other again, and Topanga's saying, "Stop it, you're boys."
Yep. It only takes remembering how they started to realize just how close they are. And I will
Mm-hmm.
say, with as dumb as everything has been, it is good to see how little it takes for them to realize just how much they've invested into their relationship, and just really how good of friends they actually are and how much they mean to each other.
Well, in fairness, though, how many times do you see in shows where guys get into a fight and they realize, I actually don't want to punch you. I'm glad I punched you, but now I don't want to punch you anymore. Let's go get a drink.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm? So, I mean, even again, for Aaron and I, anytime we've seen each other since, having time away from each other, we've never not had a moment where we're like, oh my gosh, it's you! And then be happy to see each other. Then we have to see each other again soon. And then 3 years go by.
Yeah.
Ain't that the truth?
So, I will say, since we saw each other earlier this summer, this is the most we've communicated with each other in years. So this has been quite nice.
Slow and steady, my friend. Slow and steady.
2024 is the year I reconnect with all my friends.
The year of Tyler.
Sure. Yes, but we learned that Topanga is apparently applying to Miami, which she never discussed with Corey.
Yeah.
And so now Corey and Topanga are in a tiff.
Wonder if this was the University of Miami or Miami of Ohio. Not that it makes a
I would
difference,
go
but I'm
with
curious.
Miami, like the university, because Miami, Ohio, not a big deal. But
Yeah.
Miami, the actual school, is actually a really good school.
Either way, it's not on Corey's list.
Yeah, which you'd think that Corey and Topanga would have shared their list with each other.
Yeah. I don't nag. Topanga abuses Corey here.
Yeah. But
Oh.
Brett, the boys take one last crack at the dean. They're actually in his office waiting for him. Which,
They have
how'd they get in his
trespassed.
office? It should be.
It should be locked. And if
It
it
should be
was,
locked.
they entered a trespass.
Uh-huh. Also, should there be like another office, like a secretary's area, to block someone before they get into the actual office? That's normally how it works.
There should be. But again, Michael Jacobs never went to college. And this is the hyper reality world of Boy Meets World, where we got to let some of those things slide.
Yes. So they start to. He basically goes back and forth about how he will never let anything slide, and includes that he spent some time in China and starts speaking Mandarin, and apparently, um, Jack responds to him. And I will say, I was watching the subtitles when watching this episode, and it does say in subtitles speaking Chinese, and then says the lines that they're saying in translated. So it seems like they actually are saying the right lines.
Hmm?
So, which is quite impressive for both of these two actors.
No.
But apparently, this is enough for the dean to give them a month's extension. Again, on a paper that
That he has
literally was 3 weeks.
that he has no control over.
Yep. Also, it's not like college classes last that long. A month is literally like, or
This is
essentially
effectively going to be
7 weeks is like half of the class.
yeah. Their initial first assignment is not going to be turned in until the class is halfway over.
Hmm.
Oh well.
It's dumb, but that's an episode.
Yes, it is. So that means, Tyler, do you have any deep dives for us?
I do, but I have to ask, Aaron, do you want to go to college after seeing all this stuff?
I am glad I took the path I did. That's all I have to say.
Hit my music, Brett.
People, 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 people. Am I the only one who read the summer reading list?
Let's get into some deep dives. What?
Was it deep dives or deep chewing?
Do you have something snarky to say? It's deep dives. Leave me alone.
There's my snark.
So
this
they
is every
mentioned
week. This is every week.
Parmas Park,
Paramus.
Parmas Mall,
Paramus.
which is apparently in New Jersey. Opened in 1974, owned by the Brooklyn Field Properties. Apparently, it's still operational, so good for them. So, I'm not sure where in their mall they got cake, but apparently they went to New Jersey and got cake in that mall.
Food court?
Who knew? So, hopefully this link works. I'm nervous it won't. We'll see how it goes. All right. Looking back on 1997, the weekend they're referencing, because they say in this, I read in the subtitles, next week's game, where my thing says this Sunday's game. It's not this Sunday, it's next Sunday, which is different. So, in said game, the Philadelphia Eagles did actually play at home, and they played against. You want to guess who, Brett?
Oh, there's like, at that point, 30 other teams to guess. I have no clue.
Aaron, any guesses?
They played against the other football team.
Close. They played against the Cowboys.
Ah, interesting.
Mm-hmm.
There's no way Feeney would have had tickets for that game.
No, I don't know why he assumed they would. I had. Yeah, show me the score. Why aren't you showing it to me? Okay. It's not showing me the score right now, but I can tell you, based on the stats, it's listed. Oh, what the heck? That's dumb. So apparently I have no idea what the score was, because it's just showing me the season stats, not the actual game stats. Dumb. At one point it showed me the actual I had in front of me the score, but now it's not showing me, which is dumb. Yes, game info. Show it to me. Why aren't you showing it to me? Oh well. I guess the big thing to say, Brett, is they played the Cowboys, and I'm assuming it was a barn burner. But it would make sense that Corey, as a Philadelphia Eagles fan, would be interested in the Cowboys game. All right. So acceptance rates in 1989, which is the year that they're graduating, not 2000, is apparently 36% less than the prior year. Applied this year, and 4,970 were admitted, and that is down by 262 from the previous year. I have no idea why it went down. All I know is it went down.
I can tell you the results of that Cowboys-Eagles game.
Oh, yeah?
13-12 Eagles.
Fair. That does sound familiar. Alrighty. Let's talk about llamas.
That was a
Llama,
sheep.
apparently, is from Spanish.
Well, you do a
Llama
llama
glama
sound.
is a domesticated South American camelid, widely used as a meat and pack animal by Andine cultures since the pre-Columbian era. Yeah, that's all I'm going to say about that because there's no point of going deeper. But petting zoos, also known as children's zoos or children's farms or petting farms, features a combination of domestic animals and some wild species that are docile enough to touch and feed. In addition to independent zoo or petting zoo, many general zoos contain a petting zoo. In 1938, the London Zoo included the first children's zoo in Europe, and the Philadelphia Zoo was the first in North America to open a special zoo just for children. So, that is that, Brett, and that's all the deep dives I got this week.
All right. Well,
Unfortunately, a lot of the stuff that's in here we already covered, so there's not really a point of covering it again and going through each school individually. So,
yeah. Well, let's talk about.
You know anything about the Odyssey? Huh? Did I say you could talk?
I didn't teach you that.
My friend Mr. Matthews will lead the discussion.
Do I have to draw you a picture?
What did we learn? Tyler, what did you learn from this episode?
well, that's a great question, Brett, because what I learned is
that a
children
llama?
are not
That
happy.
was a llama sound. Sorry, a little late.
That's
Go
all
ahead,
right.
Tyler.
Basically, what I learned is what I was reminded of, and that is sometimes teenage boys don't know how to communicate with each other. And so to emphasize with teenagers to communicate to one another and share their emotions because it's important. And if you don't share, all you're going to do is resent each other.
All right. Well, I'm going to go with the Eric and Jack story and pull something from theirs. Don't let your fears and insecurities control you. You need to be in control of them, and don't let them paralyze you and make you think you should go befriend the dean. Okay, the last part was tacked on, but the first part stands.
What about the bean?
The bean? No. That was at Beach State. Aaron, did you learn anything from this episode?
I learned that Tyler missed me.
Oh, I did miss you, buddy.
All right. So,
I'm right?
No, you're exactly right.
So am I done with my education? Can I go?
how would we grade this episode? Tyler, I'm going to let you go first.
Oh, gosh, no, you go first.
Nah, I went first last week.
I'm in charge this episode. You go first.
All right. I'm giving it a D. Seriously, this started as a C plus episode when we started the episode, and the more we talked about it, the lower the grade fell.
That stinks.
This is just there is very little redeeming about this episode in my eyes. I don't seek out this episode to watch when I
No.
sit down and watch one. And the whole Cory and Shawn breakup, there are better example episodes of it throughout the run of the show.
Yeah.
And the way that the writers handle it, I mean, I already said that it's a dud for them. There's a lot of stuff that just doesn't hold up. And honestly, I've been open about it on the podcast before. I really don't like that they went back and retconned Cory and Topanga. And here we have the biggest evidence of them retconning it to the whole here's the wife. I really don't like that at all. I
Yeah.
liked it. I preferred what they set up in season 1. That was good enough for me. The only thing that keeps it from being an abject failure is some of the stuff that we get in Jack and Eric in their misguided attempt to befriend Dean Borak. So just some of the performances that in that, and some of what they learn and then ignore from Mr. Feeney.
That's fair. I'll have to go with a straight up C. For everything you said, but the dramaticness I do appreciate overall, and there are some really funny bits in this show, and it is not one I will search out. But in my vantage point from all the episodes we've done recently, the quality to get to a B has gotten on up, and so C for me is like a lower tiered like poo poo at this point. So C it is, straight up.
Topanga.
Aaron, what about you?
Well, seeing as how you threw me onto the bus on this episode to start off with, thank you very much for that.
You're welcome.
I'm gonna have to give it. I think I'd have to agree on Tyler on a C. I have nothing to really reference it from, at least not recently. But the innuendos and everything were kind of off-putting and surprising,
Innuendo.
and the way we discussed about the introduction to the episode alone was just really far left field. Yeah, I'd have to agree on Tyler. It's gonna have to be a C since like I said, I have nothing else to reference.
Fair. Very fair. I believe I owe you a dad joke, Brett.
You do.
All right, here we go. A friend dug a hole in the garden and filled it with water. I think he meant well.
Ha.
Yes, he did.
Ba-da-da, and that good looking people is truly an episode.
Well, good looking people.
Well,
You can
Yeah, go ahead, Brett.
okay. You can find us online, social media profiles at dadsmeetworld, X, previously known as Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. You can send us an email at dadsmeetworld@gmail.com, and you can leave us a review and a rating because Tyler has introduced a challenge. Tyler, why don't you tell the good looking people about that?
Exactly. If we end up with over 100 reviews on either Apple or Spotify or wherever you listen to your podcast, give us a 5-star review. We will do the hot stuff dance that the gentlemen do later on this season. So please, good looking people, if you would like to see us embarrass ourselves, please leave us a review so we can do that. And if you absolutely don't want to see us do that, let's get up to 200, then we won't do it at all. And then we'll do a video thanking you. But yeah, I just want to shout out to our good friend Aaron for stopping by. Maybe we can have him back on for an episode that maybe is a little bit less cringe.
Yes, I think we can definitely find one that's not.
I think I would definitely appreciate that.
So, Aaron, anything you want to say to the good-looking people before you sign off?
Well, it's been been fun, but it ain't been real fun. Or has it? We will never know. Until next time, folks. Catch you later.
Well, all right. Until next time, good looking. I'll see you.
Back to you, good-looking.
You know, how can I learn so much every week and still be so stupid?
I want to be normal, Spud. We are the Timmers.
This is good TV. Dads Meet World is a production of Headfirst Studios. Headfirst Studios, tell your story.